I regularly wear a smile. I can attach it or remove it whenever I like Mr. Potato Head, but instead of a potato, I'm a regular guy. Only most of the time, the smile is a lie. It's not real. It's my disguise to conceal exactly how I actually feel, and I wear it for you. So you don't ever have to see through to what I'm going through, because for you to know the real me would undoubtedly make you flee as far as you possibly could from me. Well, that's what I'm made to believe. You see, I rarely know what's true. Because thanks to the way my brain is wired, I'm always being lied to. I'm not good enough. Nobody wants to know. People will turn their back on me if I ever even remotely show just how messed up I really am. So I can no longer keep covered this broken man. My name is Sam, and I suffer from depression. You could call this my confession, or you could treat it like a lesson, as I'd like to explain a little bit about this false facial expression. It's easier for me to smile, all the while aware that I'm genuinely scared. I've lost the ability to care for my welfare, and it's not fair. I feel like it's my fault. My lack of desire to stay afloat is like a chokehold that won't let go. It's wrapped tightly around my throat. It stops me from making it known to anyone that something is wrong. My interest in life is gone. But how? How could I, the apparently nice guy that people seem to genuinely like, actually want to die? I've often thought of suicide. Yet I've so much in life which makes it harder to rationalise how it is I can feel so low. And so I feel guilty if I let anything show, as there are so many people with a harder life than mine. It's one of the reasons why my mind is adamant I must pretend that everything's fine. I have so much love all around me, yet this bubble that I live in, this darkness that surrounds me, is keeping me tightly impounded in a totally solitary state of mind, where it leaves me wide awake at night asking why I have to keep going. I am so sick of showing a duplicitous smile, all the while knowing that as soon as it's just me and my defective brain, the smile crumbles until the damn wall breaks and in pours an unexplainable wave of pain that hits as if it's a Virgin cross-country train. And yes, that's a pretty lame metaphor, but I couldn't think of a better for what type of train could describe it, because I couldn't think of anything better to hit me when I stood inches beside it. But as you can see, I'm fine. I didn't go through with it this time. Instead, I walked home crying. I decided to try and talk about it, make you aware that I have some days where I've lost every remaining piece of hope in life, to the point where I want nothing more than to die, to be removed from life entirely, which surely isn't right. I shouldn't have to feel like the only way for me to be free completely is to stop my heart from beating. And so there are a few ways to deal with this, but they never seem to work forever. And this is slowly what I'm finding, because this darkness, it likes to go into hiding, to make me start to feel like it's gone for good, but it always comes back to catch me off guard and attack when I least expect that it would, because all it will do is wait. Wait for as long as it takes, whether it's days, weeks, months, years, or decades. It waits. So I know I am never safe, and the longer it's waiting, the stronger it's making its ways to defeat me in its crusade to delete me. I'm not telling you this because I want your pity or your help, although to talk about it is a way to try and help myself. I'm telling you this because there are so many other people who suffer worse than I do. They may be too scared to mention to anyone, or to you, their brother, their sister, their neighbour, their lover, their colleague, or their closest friend, that they are a threat to themselves and they're approaching the end. It may be hard for you to tell, but that's because what we do best is to hide it so well. Although we don't want to suffer by ourselves. Despite how our minds are wired to think otherwise, what we really want is help. But there's such a stigma attached to being labelled depressed, which makes it hard enough to confess to yourself, let alone someone else. Now me, I feel like I recently broke. had a choice. I could listen to the deceitful, fiendish and evil voice that told me to kill myself, or I could stand up and explain just a slice of an insight into the effects of sickness in mental health. It's so hard to ask for help. I feel like I should be able to help myself, but at times I can't. We can't, and we won't always keep trying. I feel like I spend half my life crying and the other half lying. It's so easy to think that the best way out, or the only way out, is through dying. But I've recently discovered that discussing it with others is a way for me to not to have to face it all alone. I write about it when I'm on my own. It keeps me busy, because when I'm by myself is when it comes to try and get me. When it's me and no one else is when the voices start to come. They wait for me to be alone so they can cut me off from everyone. They tell me people are sick of my moaning. They tell me everyone's sick of me. They say there's no escaping the pain, but there is only one way to ever truly be free. But that's what it wants me to believe. But only because it knows that we are at our weakest when we're on our own, and with the strength of others we will be able to keep going. But the problem is we have to be able to ask, and some of us feel we can't, as it's easily the hardest part. I can't speak for every person who suffers from depression. I can only speak for myself. I'm not interested in trying to make comparison between my troubles and those of anyone else, but I know I'm not the only one to struggle with their mental health, and if I can help just one person see they're not on their own, see that so many people suffer but don't show it, then that in itself is enough to keep me going. My name is 1 in 5 people, and I suffer from depression. This is my confession, and the issue needs addressing as the stigma needs resetting. Depression is an illness, it's not a choice. You're not alone, and it is not your fault. Please keep going.